The wind howls across a Norwegian fjord in the 8th century, biting and relentless. Salt spray stings the faces of those huddled by turf-roofed longhouses, clinging to survival on the edge of the world. The sea gives, but it also takes. The land is thin, rocky, and unforgiving. Every harvest is a hard-won miracle, every sunrise a small victory. Here, life is a daily struggle, forging people who are tough, resourceful, and practical. They read the seasons, the tides, and the stars, becoming master shipwrights and navigators out of necessity. Family and clan are everything, a network for survival in a harsh world. But strength is revered, and when resources are scarce, taking what you need becomes a virtue. The same hands that mend nets can wield axes. For many, the future at home is bleak little land, little hope. So young men gaze out over the grey sea, dreaming of distant shores, rumoured to be rich and undefended. The call of the sea is not just for adventure, it's a chance to carve out a new destiny. Scandinavia's harshness didn't just breed survivors, it bred explorers and conquerors. The world beyond their shores was not just opportunity, it was survival. And so, the Viking story begins. The Vikings' rise was no accident. It was powered by the longship, a marvel of naval engineering. Fast, agile, and able to navigate both open seas and shallow rivers, the longship was their secret weapon. It allowed them to strike suddenly and vanish before resistance could form. But technology alone wasn't enough. Viking culture glorified the warrior. Honor and reputation were earned in battle, celebrated in poetry, and rewarded with wealth. Raiding became a rite of passage and the engine of the economy. Chieftains needed loot to keep their followers loyal, creating a cycle of conquest, pushed by scarcity, pulled by the promise of riches, and enabled by their ships. The Vikings set out. The storm was coming, and it had been brewing for generations. The year is 793. On Lindisfarne, monks live in peace, their monastery a beacon of learning. But on a calm June day, dragon-proud ships appear on the horizon. Vikings land, axes in hand, and the age of the Vikings explodes onto the Christian world. The attack sends shockwaves across Europe. Monasteries, once safe, are now targets. Chroniclers call it godless savagery, but the Vikings are not mindless. Their raids are calculated, targeting isolated, wealthy sites like Lindisfarne. Gold, silver, and treasures are plundered, not for their sanctity, but for their value. The Vikings master surprise, striking and vanishing before defences can rally. For decades, their dragon ships become symbols of terror along Europe's coasts. They avoid pitched battles, preferring hit-and-run tactics. Monasteries and towns are sacked, wealth flows north, and Europe scrambles for answers. The raid on Lindisfarne sets the pattern, swift, brutal, and effective. Asymmetrical warfare becomes the Viking trademark. For nearly a century, no one can stop them. The Viking Age has truly begun. For years, Viking raids were seasonal, but in 865 everything changed. A massive fleet, the Great Heathen Army, landed in England, not to raid but to conquer. Led by figures like Ivar the Boneless, they swept through Northumbria, East Anglia, and Mercia. Only Wessex, under Alfred the Great, held out. After years of struggle, a stalemate led to the creation of the Danelaw, Viking-ruled territory in England. The raiders became settlers, farmers, and traders. They left their mark on language, law, and place names. York, now Jorvik, became a thriving trade hub. The Vikings were no longer outsiders, they were shaping England's future. Their culture blended with the local population, changing both. The Danelaw was a turning point, from invaders to rulers. Viking influence spread through towns, trade, and daily life. England was forever changed by their presence. The age of the Viking settler had begun. Their legacy would endure long after the raids ended. While Danes and Norwegians raided west, Swedish Vikings, the Russ, looked east. They navigated Russia's rivers, trading furs, slaves, and goods for silver from the Islamic world. Fortified posts like Novgorod and Kiev became powerful centers. The Rus imposed their rule, blending with local Slavs and founding the Kievan Rus state. They raided and traded with Byzantium, even serving as the emperor's elite Varangian guard. Their reach extended from the Baltic to Constantinople. The Vikings were not just raiders, they were founders of new states. Their influence shaped the future of Russia and beyond. The Viking Age is also the story of legendary individuals. Harald Hardrada, exiled prince, fought as a mercenary from Kiev to Constantinople, amassing wealth and fame. He returned to Norway, seized the throne, and embodied the global ambition of the Viking warrior. Meanwhile, Eric the Red, exiled for violence, sailed west from Iceland and discovered Greenland. He recruited settlers, founding a colony that would last centuries. These men pushed boundaries, seeking power, wealth, or simply a new home. Their sagas are tales of exile, exploration, and audacity. Vikings like Harald and Eric show the age's spirit, restless, bold, and unafraid of the unknown. Their journeys stretched from the Arctic to the Mediterranean. The Viking world was truly global. No age lasts forever. The Viking Age faded as Europe changed. Stronger kingdoms built defenses, standing armies, and navies. Vikings settled, adopted Christianity, and became part of the political order. The last great invasion came in 1066, when Harald Hardrada fell at Stamford Bridge. Weeks later, William of Normandy, descended from Vikings, conquered England. The age of raiders ended. The age of kings and castles began. Vikings didn't disappear. They became Normans, English, Russians. Their legacy is survival, adaptation, and transformation. From harsh beginnings, they shaped the world. Their story is one of ingenuity, courage, and change. The Viking spirit endures in the lands they touched. Their mark on history is indelible.